Let's step aside and focus on the people's pride. The gracious hostess here is attorney Aparna Dave of Women's Worldview. Today, this attorney has a guest from Fair Observer. He is the founder and editor-in-chief of the Fair Observer. Let's hear this dialogue.
Welcome viewers to another segment of Capital Forum. Today we have an interesting guest with us. His name is Atul Singh. Atul is the founder and editor-in-chief of Fair Observer. It's a magazine, a reputed media platform providing quality analysis of global issues for educated professionals. Atul is not only a journalist, but besides being a journalist, he has an MBA from Wharton. I believe he's done a business degree from Wharton. He has worked as a corporate lawyer in London. He has studied philosophy, politics, and economics at Oxford. And you've also debated extensively on several various issues. And in addition, Atul has been an IPS officer in India. Am I right?
Yes.
So Atul, you have such a varied background, and I'm really impressed with your bio. But why have you chosen journalism over practicing as a lawyer or as a business person? What is so interesting about journalism and media?
Well, the answer is very simply this. For me, media was always something that I was interested in, something that I cared about. And I felt you needed $500 million to start something in the media. Now, of course, the costs dropped and I evolved and I learned and grew and saw much of the world. And I developed, I guess, the self-confidence, especially after going to the New York Global Media Summit and seeing three key problems with the global media, which had always rankled me, but I saw that extensively and visibly. And first, I realized that the trend in media was towards an increase in sensationalism and a decrease in analysis. That was problem number one.
Right, absolutely, you're right.
Problem number two was the analysis that you got was invariably ethnocentric, if not biased. By that I mean you don't even get a national view, you get a city view. Now look at India, all right? NDTV is New Delhi Television. It's a bunch of kids of IAS and IPS and IFS officers telling you everything that you need to know about the country, and most of them don't even speak Hindi. Leave aside, leave aside Bangla and Tamil and Gujarati. They speak these regional languages with an English accent. So you have this problem in China too. You have a Beijing view of the world dominating. In England, it's just the Oxford and Cambridge view of the world. If you didn't get to Oxford and Cambridge, you simply don't have the brains enough to think. And of course, in the US, you have the East Coast domination. So you have New York and DC. And actually, I mean, Boston's pretty much finished when it comes to the media. It's New York and DC. You get either the New York view or the DC view. And of course, that is not good enough. And finally, a big problem of our age, anywhere in the world you go, is that you don't have context. So you look at primetime television, Israel and Palestine, Iran, quantitative easing, this and that, or even fiscal cliff. What exactly is it? What is the backstory? What is the background? Why is this important? That's simply not told. So I thought that the challenge of our times to have an engaged and functioning democracy was for a media company to inform, to educate, and to inspire, and to provide context, and to provide analysis, and to make sure that analysis came from around the world and from people from many disciplines, so that what you got was a 360-degree view of the world. And that's why the key product is 360-degree analysis, in which there's a context piece, and then there are multiple perspectives that come from around the world. And so our presumption is that you're intelligent. We don't need to tell you what to think.
But you're analyzing the news that is out there.
Exactly. And you can see which of the analysis you buy, and you see if you read a few analysis, you'll see all of them have blind sides. But if you look at a few of them put together, you'll have less of a blind side, and that's it.
Now, so Atul, tell our viewers, when did you start the Fair Observer?
So I graduated from Wharton in 2010. So I did a triple major in entrepreneurship, finance, and strategy. So, of course, I should have gone to Wall Street like the rest of my classmates and become rich by now, or at least on the path to becoming rich. But I came out and I spent a lot of time just thinking about and trying to put together the network, because I wanted a crowdsourced approach. So I had to build a community. I had to build a global community, because I didn't want 5 people sitting in their rooms and writing about the rest of the world, because that is the Economist model. That is the New York Times model. That is the model of any media company right now. And so to build that community, I had to put in a lot of pre-work and work the phones and work Skype. And therefore, I lost all my hair. Then basically we got started, and in 2011 fall is when we launched our beta, and we are still in beta. We are transitioning towards a better site, and we are launching Kickstarter. So those of you watching should support us on Kickstarter when we launch. It's still a young publication, built out of nothing except sweat, blood, and tears, and my savings, and my partner's savings, and my parents' pension savings.
Now, tell our viewers what is the purpose of Fair Observer. I think you said you write articles, not only just gives you these headlines, but the idea is everything that you write, you are trying to analyze the background. Any input, anything that you can tell our viewers on what type of articles do you share with the community using the Fair Observer, and why do you think Fair Observer would be different from any other media source?
Okay, so let me disentangle the two questions. Why is Fair Observer different? Fair Observer is different because for the first time in the history of the media, it's a truly global discourse. So The Economist, if you look at it, and that's the publication we really admire and look up to, and draw our inspiration from. So The Economist is global coverage and global reach. It is a beautiful weekly that analyzes what's happened in the world and the issues that are important, and everyone who's educated anywhere in the world generally reads The Economist.
Right.
It's been around since 1843.
Years, correct.
1843, a long time. Having said that, The Economist is largely an Oxford and Cambridge show. And it is not a global discourse. It's a top-down discourse. Clever kids coming out of Oxford and Cambridge, former debaters like me, telling you what to think. And I think, clever though as I may sound, the people who are watching are a lot cleverer than I am. And they know much more together than I will ever do or you will ever do. So the idea was to create a global discourse in which, let's say, anybody could suggest what topic to cover. Anybody could send us an analysis about anything they care about. It could be Egypt, it could be quantitative easing, it could be the healthcare system here, it could be tort law reform, it could be gun law reform. It didn't matter what the issue was, as long as you met our editorial guidelines and you wrote an analytical piece which was right on the facts, sound in its logic, and simple in its explanation. So that if you were explaining politics, a pediatrician could read and understand it. If you were explaining, let's say, something about Egypt, somebody in India who didn't know much about it could read about it and understand it. So that is unique about Fair Observer. It's a bottom-up process with a very wide filter. We have more than 500 contributors now from over 30 countries, and 2 former prime ministers as advisors, one of whom is John Bruton, who began the Northern Irish peace process. So we've set a very wide filter of contributors who include former prime ministers like John Bruton, and very bright and very insightful students, all the way down to undergrads. So we have prime ministers, diplomats, retired generals, professors, scholars, down to undergrads, all writing on one platform, and that's unique. It's a bottom-up process with a very, very wide funnel, but with a very strong filter. We won't publish anything unless it's quality. That's all we check for. not for your viewpoint, not for what you've said, but as long just checking it for, as I said, for logic, for being right on the facts, for being clear in your expression, and that's that.
So now, does it, you also, I believe it's not global issues, which would include everything, right? Politics, economics, social, human rights.
So the goal in the long run is to focus on a wide spectrum. So this becomes your go-to place to understand the world. Just as you go to the economists and you get a view of what's going on, you come to us. But we've begun with a stronger focus on politics and economics, and specifically on the Middle East.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. But then you're open to
no, but we do Far East, we do India. We are publishing something on the 15th of March, which will displease Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. It basically looks at dynastic rule in India, and I'm specifically, there'll be many perspectives, but my perspective will be that dynastic rule has been nothing short of an unmitigated disaster, and I'll go into the explanations of why that is so and why we need to change it.
Now, if you would tell our viewers, how would you subscribe to Fair Observer? Is it an online magazine?
It's online, it's free. You just go to it, fairobserver.com, read it.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
And write to me. If you have any thoughts, you disagree with something, comment on it. Write a riposte article.
Okay. Anything, we don't have much time left, Atul, and I think we can sit here and talk for hours with the interesting work that you do. Anything that you would want to tell our viewers today, which you think is important?
I just have one thing to say, and Fair Observer is all about you. Fair Observer is your platform to engage with the world. The world as we know it is increasingly global, it's increasingly interlinked. Greece is like a butterfly in the world economy, and the fluttering of wings of a butterfly has sent sneezes, not just across America, but across China. And so it is important that we understand why things are happening. It's important we try to find out what other people are thinking, people who look different, people who speak a different language, people who come from a different ethnicity. And I think Fair Observer aims to be this global platform where you can reach out and connect to the world.
Great. Viewers, as Atul had already told us, that Fair Observer is available online. It is free.
Yes.
Please, you should go and read some of these articles and provide some feedback to Atul so that he can help our community in a better way.
It's atul.singh@fairobserver.com.
Atul, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.